Pam Tauer here. I'm standing in City Park in front of a native plant garden surrounded by iconic Pacific Northwest trees. Our giant green neighbors are often taken for granted. Here in Edmonds, we live in the world's largest temperate rainforest, where western hemlocks, western red cedars, and Douglas fir thrive in the cool mist and gentle rain. But these extraordinary trees are facing major challenges. Our hotter, drier summers are making our forests vulnerable to disease and pests. We need trees. Trees do good. They cool our neighborhoods, protect soil and water, provide wildlife habitat, and store carbon, which cleans our air, making Edmonds healthier and more resilient. The Edmonds Notable Trees Downtown Tree Walk is the first in a series of neighborhood walks, inviting you to explore our community through the eyes of trees. Take a walk, look up, find a favorite tree, and celebrate the living legends that enrich our lives. We begin our Edmonds Notable Trees Downtown Tree Walk at the former site of Big Red, 1024 Fifth Avenue South. Big Red was a beloved coast redwood. It's estimated to be about 100 years old, 80 to 90 feet tall, with a trunk measuring about 6 feet around. Coast redwoods are the tallest trees in the world, and though native to California's coastal fog belt, they adapt well to Edmonds' cool, moist climate. Their flat, two-ranked needles resemble those of a hemlock, and their cones, no larger than an olive, hold the potential for giants. Big Red provided shade, wildlife habitat, and welcomed visitors and residents alike as you enter downtown Edmonds. Big Red was felled in early April 2025 by the Boardwalk Condominium Homeowners Association Board, which sparked a peaceful protest and inspired the formation of Friends of Edmonds Trees, a community group dedicated to preserving Edmonds tree canopy and educating our residents on the benefits of trees. I'm standing on Urban Street, a half a block from the entrance of City Park. Behind me is a stately Crimson King Norway maple. It's hard to miss its deep purple foliage, which creates a dramatic contrast to the greens of the surrounding trees. This is a common tree used in urban landscapes, and it's a non-native, appreciated for its shade, adaptability, and yes, its beautiful foliage. But despite its beauty, this Norway maple has become known as an aggressive invader in the Pacific Northwest, outcompeting our native trees. In Snohomish County, the Norway maple is listed as a weed of concern, and it's recommended not to plant this tree. We have teams of volunteers removing invasive species in our city parks. Other invasive species we shouldn't be planting are holly, ivy, and laurel. What we want to remember is to always prioritize planting native trees. As we head over to City Park, we're going to see iconic trees of the Pacific Northwest. I'm on 3rd Avenue South in front of City Park near the entrance. Behind me are great example of Douglas firs. I do want to point out on this tree how destructive ivy has been. So Douglas fir, they are the second tallest trees in the world. They grow typically to heights of 300 feet, but can grow up to 500 feet toward the coast, like the Nooksack giant. How do you identify a Doug fir? Well, it's pretty easy. Well, let's start first that it has the furrowed bark of mature trees. The older they get, the bark becomes more furrowed. I've got an example of the needles, which are about 1 inch long and are kind of like a bottle brush. But the most distinctive feature of a Douglas fir is its cone. Look down and there'll be plenty of cones. And in the cone you will see 3 pronged bracts in the scales that look like the hind legs and tail of a tiny little field mouse. Coast Salish legend tells the story of a great fire where tiny mice were fleeing, and a Douglas fir opened up its cones to protect the tiny mice as the fire passed by. For thousands of years, the Coast Salish have used the Douglas fir for practical and cultural uses. Its wood was used to build longhouses and to make tools. The needles and pitch were used for medicinal value, and sometimes in times of need, the inner bark was used for food. The Douglas fir has been a provider and a protector for the Coast Salish. The Douglas fir has played a central role also in more recent history. Vast stands of Douglas fir were logged, which fueled our town sawmills and economic health. Douglas fir is actually a misnomer. The Douglas fir is not a fir, but its own genus, Pseudotsuga, which means false hemlock. These remaining giants remind us both of the past and the resilience of our forests. When you look around Edmonds and look up, you always see Douglas firs in the skyscape.